Sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah.
Now there's a title that makes you wonder.
Right.
Makes you think twice, right? Are we overlooking the riches already in our lives?
Yeah.
That's what we are diving into today
Okay, let's do it.
with this deep dive
Right?
into a talk by Reverend Mary Shaver.
Okay.
She's got some interesting insights I think you'll find interesting about abundance, mindset,
Yeah.
and the idea that we might be sitting on a gold mine of potential without realizing it.
Yeah. And she uses a great anecdote right at the beginning
Oh, yeah.
to set the stage.
Okay.
Have you ever stumbled upon something valuable in your own home, like something you didn't even know was there?
Like a hidden stash of $100 bills.
Wow.
Asking for a friend, of course.
Sure. Yeah. So in Reverend Shaver's case, it was these huge slabs of marble
Wow.
that she found at her family's house.
Really?
Yeah. Totally unexpected.
Wow.
But as she put it, everything we need is already here.
It's so true, isn't it? It's such a powerful reminder. It is.
We get so caught up in the hustle and striving for what we lack
Right.
that I think we forget to look around and appreciate all the abundance we already have.
It's so easy to do.
It is.
To focus on what we don't have.
Right.
Instead of, like you're saying, harnessing what we already do have.
Right. And what stood out to you from this part of the talk?
Well, this idea of overlooking resources that we have available to us really resonated with me. And, that could be physical possessions, but also our talents, our relationships.
Our experience.
Exactly. It's like we're always looking for the greener grass, right?
Always. Yep.
But what if we just water our own grass?
Water our own grass. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she ties this into, and I love how she does this idea of visualization.
Yes.
And expectation, right?
Yeah. And she mentions this book, Your Invisible Power, by Genevieve Barrand.
Okay, I've not heard of this one.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, well, it's fascinating.
So she talks about this idea of pictured desire.
Okay.
So by, vividly imagining and feeling your desired outcomes, that's how we can draw those things to us.
It's like you're putting it out there.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm ready for.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so when we do that in combination with realizing we're already sitting on a gold mine,
Right.
it can be really transformative. But I think we also have to look at the beliefs we hold,
Okay.
especially around wealth and spirituality, because those can affect our ability to tap into that abundance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting how those beliefs can really hold us back.
It is, isn't it?
And I like how Reverend Shaver really challenged some of those assumptions
Yeah.
about wealth and spirituality.
Well, because there's this idea out there sometimes
Yeah.
that you can't be wealthy and be a spiritual person.
Right. You have to choose.
Right. And she gives some good examples in the talk.
Yeah. Like where?
Like she points out that figures like even Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, they weren't living in poverty.
Right. It's not like they had a vow of poverty or something.
Right. It's a misconception.
Yeah.
But that can really mess us up
Yeah.
if we think we have to choose one or the other.
It's like we're almost afraid to even ask for abundance.
Yes, exactly.
Because then that means we're not spiritual.
Right. Or that we're not grateful for what we do have.
Right. Exactly.
It's weird.
It is.
Dichotomy.
It is. And that's where I think this idea of like a debt consciousness versus an abundance consciousness is so important.
Okay, explain that. What do you mean?
Well, you know how some people, no matter how much money they have,
Yes.
they always worry about money.
Always. Oh, yeah. Like they're always waiting for the bottom to drop out.
Yes, exactly. Like they're afraid to spend it. They're
Yeah.
afraid to enjoy it.
It's like they can't relax.
Right.
And be in the abundance.
Exactly. And that's debt consciousness,
Sure.
right? They're tuned in to a frequency of lack.
Okay.
So they're going to see that everywhere.
Of course, because it's their lens.
Right.
It's like if you're always looking for the bad, you're going to find it.
Of course.
You're going to find evidence for it everywhere.
Right. And you're also going to attract more of it.
Exactly. So even if they won the lottery or something, they'd
Right.
find a way.
Lose it or
Or squander it.
spend it all in a way that doesn't feel good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So abundance consciousness, on the other hand, is about cultivating this belief
Yeah.
that the universe is abundant
Okay.
and that there's enough to go around for everybody.
I love that. And that reminds me of that story that she tells about the fisherman
Oh, yes.
and the banker. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a classic, isn't it?
It is.
It's all about how you define what a full and busy life is.
Exactly. And it's funny because it really illustrates that.
It does, yeah.
So for those who haven't heard it,
Yeah.
a banker's walking along and he sees this fisherman just relaxing.
Just chilling.
And he says to him, well, why aren't you out there catching more fish?
Yeah, like, don't you have work to do?
Right. And the fisherman's like, well, I've caught enough to feed my family.
Right. I'm good.
I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. And the banker's like, what?
What are you talking about?
You need to be working harder.
So you can buy a bigger boat?
Yes.
And then you can get more boats.
And then you can retire early.
Yeah.
And then you can relax.
And then you can enjoy your life.
Right.
Yes. And the fisherman's like, yeah,
Isn't that what I'm doing?
isn't that what I'm doing right now?
I don't understand.
That's so good.
And it's so simple, but it really does make you think.
It does.
About what we're striving for, you know?
Yes. Absolutely.
Like, are we actually living?
Right.
Or are we just working for someday?
Are you chasing some future ideal that you think is going to make you happy?
Right.
Or can you find a way to be happy now?
Right.
In the present moment?
It's so easy.
It is.
Fall into that trap.
It is, especially these days. Everybody's so busy.
So caught up in the hustle.
But thankfully, Reverend Shaver, in this talk, she does give us some tools.
He does.
You know, to work with this, to shift that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of them, I think,
Yeah.
that really stuck with me was this whole idea of clearing the conduit.
Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
To allow abundance to flow into our lives.
Oh, I love that. Clearing the conduit.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
Well, I think it starts with
Yeah.
identifying any limiting beliefs that we have that might be blocking us.
Okay, so those negative thoughts, those things that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
That say we're not good enough or we're not worthy, we don't deserve it.
Right.
Things like that.
Because we've picked them up along the way, right?
You know, it's crazy. And sometimes we don't even realize we're thinking them.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. They're so ingrained.
Right. It's like they're just on a loop.
Yes. It's in our subconscious.
It's like we're walking around with this garden hose
that
has a kink in it.
Okay. I like that.
So no matter how much abundance the universe is trying to give us, we're restricting it.
We're blocking it.
Right.
Okay.
With that kink.
So how do we even begin to identify what those are?
I think it starts with paying attention to our thoughts.
Okay.
And our feelings.
Okay.
And like, what are the stories we're telling ourselves about money?
Yeah.
About success?
About our worthiness.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And are they rooted in fear or are they rooted in love?
Okay.
Like, are we coming from a place of lack or abundance?
Right. So becoming aware of that inner dialogue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from there, we can start to challenge those.
So if we notice that we're in that negative self-talk.
Right. Is that even true?
Yeah.
Right? Or is that just a habit?
A story.
Right, that you've been telling yourself.
Yeah.
Or that you picked up somewhere along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, we can choose to think something different.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where this whole concept of our mental equivalent comes in.
Oh, okay. Tell me more about that.
So that's essentially our internalized image of what's possible for us.
Okay.
Right. So if our mental equivalent is set at a certain level,
yeah,
that's all we're going to allow ourselves to receive.
Oh, okay. Like a thermostat almost.
Yes, exactly.
You can only go up so high until you reset it.
It's like having a small glass of water.
Yeah.
And you're standing under this huge waterfall of abundance.
Right.
But you can only receive
what's in your glass.
What's in that little glass.
Okay. I like that. I like that visual.
Right.
So how do we make the glass bigger?
Well, I think, again, it starts with awareness.
Okay.
What are those beliefs that we're holding?
Yeah.
About wealth and success and our own worthiness.
Okay.
Right. And then challenging them.
So it sounds like a lot of this work is really about awareness.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then making different choices.
Because once you're aware,
right,
you can't unknow it.
Exactly.
And then it's like, okay, I have a choice here.
Right. I can keep thinking this whole thought. That's keeping me stuck.
Yeah.
Or I can choose a new thought that's going to help me move forward.
It's so powerful.
It is.
And you would think it's simple.
You think so, right?
Yeah.
But then there's this other layer, I think, too.
What's that?
Of sometimes even when we do that work, there's a fear.
Okay.
Of, not fitting in.
Oh, yeah. Like, what if I outgrow my friends or my family?
Exactly.
Or my comfort zone, even.
Yeah. And Reverend Shaver talks about this, too.
Does she?
She does.
Okay.
She talks about this fear of, like, if we become too successful, too abundant, we'll be ostracized.
It's like that tall poppy syndrome.
It's exactly.
Where people have to kind of...
cut you down.
Yeah, cut you down, keep you small.
So you're not...
Yeah.
So you're not exceeding their expectations or whatever.
It's sad.
It is sad, yeah.
So how do we work with that?
That's a good question. I think it requires a lot of self-awareness.
Okay.
Compassion for ourselves as we're going through this process. Compassion for the people around us.
Yeah.
Who maybe aren't there yet.
Right.
Or who have their own, stuff.
Yeah, their own stuff.
Their own beliefs and things that they're working through.
Right. And I love how you put that compassion for ourselves, too.
Well, because we need it, right?
We do.
Like, this is new territory for a lot of us.
It is, yeah. And I love what you said about it's not taking away from others.
Right.
It's really about realizing there is enough for everybody.
Yes, there's this infinite pie.
Right.
Right.
We can all have a slice.
And your abundance doesn't take away from mine.
Exactly.
In fact, it can inspire.
It can.
And uplift others.
Right.
Right.
So it's not about shrinking back.
Right.
It's about really stepping into it.
Yes. Be the example.
Yeah.
Shine your light.
And you know what really brings this home for me is that story that she shares.
Yeah.
About her own experience.
The affirmation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like she's embodying it, right?
She is. There's no doubt. She's not saying, I hope this never happens again.
Right.
She's like, this is not happening again.
Right. Period. Done.
Yes, exactly. And you know what?
Yeah.
That really speaks to this whole idea of we can actually speak our reality into being.
It's true. You know, it's so easy to dismiss that.
It is.
But when you really think about it, you know, what we focus on grows.
It does. And our words have power.
They do.
You know, what we say, the energy behind our words, it creates a vibration.
Yes.
And that vibration goes out and it impacts the world around us.
It's like we're planting those seeds.
Yes, exactly.
With our words, you know.
And some of those seeds might take a little more time to germinate than others.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've got to nurture them. We've got to water them. We've got to give them sunlight, you know.
Just like a garden. Yeah. And I love that it's like, okay, what are those seeds of abundance that I want to plant?
Right. What are those things that you desire?
Yeah.
That you may have been denying yourself.
Yeah. Right. Or that you're afraid to even ask for.
Yes, exactly. And then what if we did believe?
Right.
Like, what if we truly believed that we are sitting on a gold mine?
Right. And that the universe really is conspiring for us, not against us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How would our lives change?
How would our energy change?
Right. How would we show up differently?
Yeah, in our relationships, in our work, in our...
Everywhere, right.
Yeah.
Because it becomes less about scarcity then.
Right.
And more about abundance.
Well, there's enough for everybody.
Yeah. And knowing that your abundance doesn't take away from my abundance.
It actually enhances it.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's not a competition.
Right. Not at all.
We're not trying to, like, hoard it all.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and sometimes that can be hard.
It can be hard.
Because we live in a world where there is competition.
Right, yeah. We're kind of conditioned that way.
And so to shift out of that is huge.
It is huge. And like she says, it's not always going to be easy.
Right? There are going to be days when you don't feel it.
You're going to have setbacks.
You're going to look at your bank account and be like, really? This is abundance.
Right. But can you find a way to still find some gratitude?
Right. Yeah. To appreciate how far you've come.
And trust the process.
Yeah. To trust that it's unfolding as it should.
Yes, exactly.
And that even those challenges are opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the real growth happens, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it all comes back to what she says at the end, which I love.
What's that?
She says, I'm living in a perfect universe. It always was perfect and always will be.
Right.
Isn't that great?
I love that there's such a sense of peace in that.
Yeah, there is. It's like, okay, take a breath.
Yeah, let go of the struggle.
Everything is as it should be.
Because even amidst all the ups and downs,
the chaos,
there's a deeper perfection.
There is.
Yeah, it's always there.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
we
invite you to reflect on your own relationship with abundance.
What does that look and feel like for you?
What are those limiting beliefs?
Yeah, what are you going to do to start clearing that conduit?
And if you could speak your reality into existence, what would it be?
What would you create?
Yeah, that's something to think about.